What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Shayla T, and welcome back to another video. We got another Wife Wednesday here. We do got a heavy topic, y'all. It's heavy, but before we get into the heavy part, I need y'all to do some things for me. Y'all know I ain't got no subscribers like that, so I need y'all to like. I mean, you can hit the dislike. I need you to share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And if you want to be a part of the notification gang, hit that bell so you'll be notified when I upload. So now that we got all that out of the way, today's topic is heavy. So today we're going to be talking about consent, and consent while you're married or in a relationship, or you know, you might just be having a little thing going on, whatever you call it. But consent is very important, especially nowadays where the lines get a little blurred. You know, I will admit this topic is very new, and I know it's new for a lot of people. You know, we kind of just thought like, well, I mean, if I look at him, you know, and you know, I'm in a room and you know, it's getting a little hot and heavy, that's consent. But that is not what consent is. Fortunately for the youth and, you know, the younger generation, we are having these conversations, because me growing up, I ain't had those conversations, okay? We ain't have that at all. The most we usually had was, you better not get pregnant, and that's that. So, consent necessary when you're in a relationship, in a marriage. You know, it's kind of tricky. That line gets a little tricky, because you're like, this is the person who I've came under God and said, for better or for worse, in front of all my family and my friends, and said, I'm going to be with you till death, do us part. So, do I need to ask? Or, you know, you've been in a relationship for a long time, or even if it's new and fresh, you feel like, okay, well, this is a person I want to be with. I'm going to just, you know, go ahead and make it do what it do. But consent is very, very tricky. But first we need to know, what is consent? What does consent is? Permission for something to happen, or an agreement to do something. So when it comes to, you know, getting it on in sex, consent, you know, is pretty much permission or an agreement to get it popping. Like I stated previously, I'm in a lot of mommy and wife groups on Facebook, and someone sent in this anonymous letter, and this got me thinking, got the wheels turning about consent in relationships and marriages. She was kind of confused whether or not her husband took advantage of her or not, and that just got the wheels turning in my mind about consent in relationships. So I'm going to read this letter that someone anonymously posted, and I will be back. Okay, so it says, my husband, who is 26, and me, 24, have been married almost 2 years. We have a baby. Today is my first day back from maternity leave, and my husband was not happy about it. He wants me to be a housewife, but I told him no. I feel sad about leaving my baby, but I love my job. I feel like I would lose myself being home all day. I was getting ready this morning, and my husband came in and watched me for a while. I felt like he was glaring at me, so I asked him if he has something to say. He told me, take my dress off. I told him no, I had to leave, and he told me again to take it off. I said no. And then all of a sudden, he just grabbed me by my arm and pushed me onto the bed. He started to push my dress up, and I tried to push his hands away, but he caught my wrist and said, relax, don't make me hurt you. I said nothing, and I just let him have what he wanted. I felt kind of scared. I started to cry a little, and he just covered my mouth. Then he got up and told me to have fun at work. I called in sick because I felt so terrible. I don't think he raped me. I don't want to use that word, but he made me feel horrible. My husband has changed ever since I got pregnant, and he's a lot less calm. I just don't understand. I wish I could be a stay-at-home mom and make him happy, but I feel like I would be miserable. I'm just very confused, and I feel very hurt. Okay, so I know what y'all thinking, like, ooh, that's too much. Like, what's going on? That's too much. I know, it's heavy. It's heavy. So, but you know, sometimes you got to do the heavy lifting to get where you need to be, or at least think about it, so you can teach your kids, nieces and nephews. have that conversation. So in my opinion, she was most definitely taken advantage of by her husband. I want to say that she was the R word. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like, I can't even imagine how she felt in that moment. It just seems so ruthless that her husband wasn't even thinking about her at the time. And that's where we are. We are on consent. So you're in this relationship, you're in this marriage, y'all together. Does that automatically means you give consent every time you have some sexual or some agreement or something that's going on? I feel like that is a no. No one is obligated to do something. Of course, you want to please your spouse. You want to, do what it do. You want to, rumble in the hay, however you say it, whatever you call it. Of course, you want to, because, sometimes you don't, them eyes start looking elsewhere and they start doing some other stuff. Somebody else might want to do something, okay, if you don't want to do it. But let's be honest, not every time your partner is in a mood, you're going to be in the mood. So when that happens, how is that coming to play? Because we can't be having issues like this one, like this woman. That is just a no-go for me. That is so disrespectful, and it's just so, it's scary and it's crazy to think that someone you love could do something like that to you. I know what you're saying, what you're thinking, like, well, then what is consent? Are you going to say, hey, you want to do something? Okay, yes, that's a good way to do it. Like, hey, tonight you trying to, and if your wife is like, yes, tonight, meet me in the bedroom. Okay, no, that's Jagged Edge. That's meet me at the altar. Bruh. But there's a meeting in my bedroom. That's what I was trying to get at. Okay, so if you want to have a meeting in the bedroom, you hit up your spouse, you might text them, and they're like, yes, I'm with it. That is a verbal consent. Like, so, they're with it. Of course, you got to still make sure they with it, because a lot can happen. The kids didn't ran around, or, you didn't have a bad day at work, and now you just want to go to bed. Okay, I'm tired. So you gotta, make sure that it's still cool. Or sometimes, I feel like consent is implied. Like if I'm taking it off and I'm like, Zana. If I'm like, come on, let's go. And I'm just, I feel like that's implied. I'm not sure how correct that is, but I do feel like there's an implied consent. If I'm taking it off and I'm like, yes, I'm with it, and you taking it off, you like, yes, you with it, then we just with it. And I feel like that's an implication that it's cool. But of course, you just, in this day and age, you have to make sure it's okay. Even if you're married, even if you've been with bae for 5 years, even if you've been with bae for 5 months, you have to make sure it's cool, or you could find yourself in a situation like this woman. And of course, it can be the other way. I've seen another post with a woman taking advantage of a man. We might have to talk about that next week, because this, woo, it was trifling, okay? But, it can go both ways, where, consent needs to be expressed both ways. So I feel like the best way to protect yourself, protect your partner, is to talk. Communication is definitely key. Communication is the most important thing to me, in my opinion, when it comes to relationships. You have to communicate so you know what's going on. I feel like you can talk about your boundaries, talk about consent, because if your spouse is kind of like my spouse, you're gonna have to educate them on that. He like, okay, so what is consent? Like, what is that all about? Again, we wasn't raised in this day and age where all of the things are being talked about and these issues are being brought up. We were in an age where it's just like pretty much black and white, do this, do that, and there wasn't a lot of information available. Again, the internet was it was, ooh, it wasn't like it was today, okay? When we was growing up, the internet looked crazy. So a lot of the information was not available, and now it is. So it's just about communicating with your partner, making sure y'all understand each other's boundaries, you understand what consent means, and I feel like you'll be all right, okay? But again, this topic is heavy. That was a lot going on in that letter, okay? A lot going on. I really pray for that woman. I hope that she got the healing she deserved, and I hope that she knows she deserves better, whoever she is. But again, make sure you're having the talk not only with your spouse, but with your children, your nieces, and your nephews, making sure they know what consent actually is. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Is consent necessary? Does marriage automatically means you can get the goodies anytime you want, or do you need to talk about it? So let me know what you think. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'm